This is going to be a movement analysis of the power clean. Now, this is not a side-by-side video, as you can see, like some of the previous ones I've put out. Rather, this is just a video of a single power clean. Now, before I get into this, I am going to be referencing this as if I were coaching this person in front of me and that they were basically a robot and every single thing I told them we could fix on the spot, and I could just keep giving them cue after cue or correction after correction. So first, understand that if I were coaching this in person, which I actually did, I was the coach of this class, I'm going to try to limit the number of corrections I give somebody to 2 or less. The reason being is that, especially with the movement as complicated as an Olympic lift, in this case a power clean, once you get beyond telling someone 2 new things, it gets really hard for them to put it together, and it actually could make it even worse. So, although I was coaching this, I let so many of these things go because I had already given this person a couple cues. One of the things I told them, which isn't really that difficult to remember, is to use the hook grip. Now, they've been lifting with us for, I don't know, going on 1.5 years, 2 years, and I think the hook grip seemed as if it were optional, and I'm telling you guys for the 785th time, the hook grip should not be optional when doing a clean or a snatch. You want to put your thumb around the bar and then squeeze your forefingers over your thumb. It will make you a better lifter, a stronger lifter. And what it should also allow is for you to lose the desire to pull with your biceps. All right, so I've already been talking for 2 minutes and we haven't seen this lift yet. Let me just hit play. We'll watch this lift twice. All right, cool. So it's automatically going to start over. Let's watch it again. Couple things I want us to pay attention to. Watch the shoulder area right when we start the lift, and then watch the elbows once the bar gets past the knee. So we'll watch it, and then I'm going to break it down further. So watch the shoulder area right here, and then the elbows. All right. So from the start, the setup, this individual is well over 6 feet tall. The setup is not bad. As far as the knee position, I believe we do have the hook grip. It looks like it. If I look right there at his left hand. So this position is not bad. Now what I would like to see is a little bit more, let me get this, a little bit more of this angle. Now I know that's an exaggeration, but what we're kind of seeing is a slight curve here. We really want that guy to be as tight as possible. So that would be my first thing, is let's try to squeeze those shoulder blades sort of back this direction, or rather like that direction, and almost try to expose the chest. Now, as far as the knees being forward of the elbows a little bit, that's perfectly fine. We got to do that to get the hips down. Now, as we go, what we should do is we should have taken a deep breath, squeeze our back and shoulders in nice and tight, and then since this person is taller, we're likely going to see the hips come up a little bit more than the shoulders, but ideally what we want to think is that the hip and the shoulder, they literally rise together at the exact same rate. So this line would be the same here and here. Now, obviously, once we start standing up a little bit more, it's going to turn more into that and then ultimately vertical. But regardless, the very start, we want to tighten this back a little bit more. Now, here's one of my biggest concerns is watch this shoulder. This is definitely a bad habit. This kind of, you can even see it starting in his face. He's like getting prepared to just jerk or yank this thing off the ground. Boom, right there. That action, I'm just going to put a circle on it for fun. This right here. We do not want that. Okay, there should be literally no movement of the shoulder as we lift off the ground. That arm and shoulder, that should be locked in super tight through the lat muscle as this comes off the ground. So we come off the ground, and then the hips rise more than we want. So see this? You can see the hips coming up a decent amount, and the shoulder just barely lifts right there. Yeah, for reference, we'll just put a line on it. Cool, so let's see what happens. All right, now let's put another line on it. Yeah, so you can tell the hips have already rose a bit. Now, again, this is going to happen with taller folks, so it's going to happen some, but I don't want to see it that much, and I want that back to be a lot tighter. Now, here is our next biggest area of concern, this guy right here. Man, we do not want this happening. This is not how we want to get the bar in. Instead, what we want this arm to stay straight, and we just want the entire arm to squeeze back in towards the body. So pretend like you cannot bend your arm. As we come up, that red line should just become this red line, and then this red line. The bar should be at arm's length. We should be squeezing in it. So right here, the elbows are so bent. I know this is going to be a bad lift. We're going to struggle to get the bar all the way to where we want it to be. At this point in time, we want the arms to be more like this. Right there, both arms just hanging down. So then we can get ultimate drive from the legs. So how do we do that? That's a mental thing. We have to not pull the bar. And rather the same thing you would do with a deadlift. You drive with your legs. Now granted, this is not a deadlift and we want to perform this a little bit differently. But we would drive through with our legs. Arms stay long. Now the heels, if we look right here, they're coming off the ground a little bit. We want those feet to stay grounded a little bit longer. So then here, this isn't bad, this body position. That's fine. I could almost go for it maybe being back a little bit more like that, a little bit more lean back. But because the arm's already bent, that kind of slows things down. And then not the perfect landing. If you watch that left foot, it moves back quite a bit. Now we've got some sort of staggered stance. So we want to practice these feet jumping and moving into a squat width landing. And then here is another issue. Is check this out. If you were starting a front squat and you took the bar out of the rack, you would never be in this position with the elbows down, the torso vertical, knees here, like so. Instead, if we were starting a front squat, we would drive the hips back, boom, boom, right? So you are going to catch your power clean in the same exact position as wherever you would be if you were to do a front squat and get into that depth and pause. So this is only a few inches down for this individual. See, it's only a few inches down, but that hip never goes back. So that's just going to cause a weird landing. And I know we can't see it, but the bar's, it's on the front rack, but I'm assuming it's not touching the front of the shoulders. And it's kind of, yeah, because you can see it right here. It's like bouncing around. Yeah, it's not sitting anywhere. Watch his chest right there. If that bar were actually glued to his shoulders, it wouldn't be moving independently. So we literally caught this weight. I don't know what it is, maybe 160, 170, something like that. Literally caught this weight with all of the load right there on the forearms. It's not sitting on the shoulders at all. So if I take this guy back from the start, and I know this has gotten pretty long, what we're going to do here is we're going to squeeze. We're going to squeeze the shoulders back. We're going to take a deep breath, kind of elevate the chest, squeeze the back. We're going to drive everything off the ground together, hips and shoulders, trying to keep my chest elevated. With long arms, I'm going to squeeze my wrist back towards my thighs by using my lats, leaving my arms long. Then here, as I start to explode up, I'm going to keep my feet on the ground as long as possible. Right about here, the bar will make hip contact. We're going to drive up and back more. Then as I pull myself under, I'm going to drive my hips down and back like I would be attempting a quarter front squat. Catch it on the shoulders, and I'm going to lose this hook grip that you can kind of see we still have right there. I'm going to lose that so I can fire these elbows up and around really fast and catch this nice and secure on the front rack. So there's a lot going on there. I wouldn't focus on all this if I were coaching this same lift right now. I would try to maybe fix the setup. That's it. The first lift off the ground. That. We would try to fix that. If we got that good in one session, cool, that's all I'd worry about. All right, guys, so that was a lengthy breakdown of a power clean that had some issues, and all of our power cleans have issues. So next time you're in class, maybe think about some of these things you saw here today, or ask a coach like, hey, where's one area you think I can improve? All right, guys, thanks for listening.